Greetings to everyone watching this video. So आज वाले वीडियो में we have Sarang Shekokar from VJTI final year IT, and he has received admits from uc-irvine and a few other colleges, and he has applied for Master of Science in Computer Science. Is that right, Sarang?
Yeah, Master of Science
So
Computer Science and Master of Computer Science.
okay, so you have applied for the professional degree as well.
Yes.
Okay. So Sarang will tell you more about himself now and tell us about your journey during the undergrad and why did you decide to go for your masters?
Yeah. So hi, my name is Sarang Shekokar. I'm currently in the final year studying final year at VJTI studying information technology. So why masters? So I mean, बचपन से ही था कि I had always decided कि I didn't want to stop at undergraduate. कुछ तो मास्टर्स लेवल करना है, बट वेदर मैनेजमेंट साइड में जाना है कि इंजीनियरिंग स्टेम फील्ड में ही करना है. सो दैट वाज अ क्वेश्चन, बट देन इवेंचुअली आई डिसाइडेड कि नहीं, I should probably go for STEM based degree. So I decided to go for masters.
अच्छा. So currently अगर थोड़ा देखा जाए I had done some research about this, then I came to know that there are several management degrees also which come under the STEM category, and CS has been and always has been in the STEM category since it's about science, engineering, and math. So can you tell us why did you specifically decide to go for MS and CS? Because as of now there are many options for IT students or CS students for their masters, be it data science, business analytics, or even other software development, anything. But why specifically a general topic like masters MScs?
Yeah, so like you said, each domain specific degrees are available today. But the thing is, I currently, even today, the thing is, I have interests in all different domains related to computer science, machine learning, blockchain, web development, everything. So, I don't have a specific domain key. I want to do this only. So, actually wanted to keep it broad so that, I don't block any prospects, so that थोड़ा broad ही हुआ. So I'll still have gates open to go if I decide to go in the future to some different domain or pursue multiple domains. So MCS or MSNCS allows me to take courses from different domains at the same time, so I can explore multiple areas together. So that's why I decided that rather than going in a specific domain, I might as well go for a general degree.
Okay, so you're giving 2 more years to yourself to decide what domain you want to get into.
Yes, more or less, yeah.
Yeah, and also you had done an internship at a bank in your third year as a part of your summer internship. So did that internship help you in any way, or usually people have a doubt, do the internships matter a lot while the placements, not the placements, the master's applications process, or will the a proper full-time job only help you? What's your take on this?
Oh no, yeah, definitely. So in my third year, upon completion of my third year, I interned at Citibank for 2 months, and yeah, internship does play a big role. It probably is almost equivalent to a full-time job. So for example, talking about my admit, so I have an admit from MCS at UCI. So in that, one of the requirements was that they need a few months of experience for the candidates to apply. And in that situation, even internship, they take internship also, consider it as a full-time job, professional experience. So in that sense, it does play a role. And further, it also exposes you to the professional side of development, how development is done professionally, and how it is like working in actual corporation rather than just working on college projects. So yeah, it does play a big role, especially in the profile also, because looking at your profile, the evaluator will look at your profile with internships and see that you have actual experience, so you understand certain areas about how work is done in a professional environment. So yeah, I feel like it does play a big role.
Okay, so just for the viewers, I want to say there are two types of master's degrees when it comes to your engineering. One is MS in your field and ME in your field. So ME is usually the masters in engineering, and MS is masters of science or master in science. And the MS is usually a theoretical degree and usually has a lot of research modules in it. and it can also be MS with capstone based project, something like that. But when it comes to MCS or MECS, something like a professional degree, and by professional degree, what I mean is like the job that you will be doing after your masters, you will be learning more about it within your masters. Like you will be interning at some of the companies as a co-op intern, or maybe as a part-time intern, and that will be helping you a lot more, because internships will be a part of your curriculum when it comes to a professional degree.
Yeah,
So
absolutely correct. Yeah.
yeah. So Sarang, like, tell me exactly about why, like, what all parameters one should keep in mind before applying for specifically for MCS or MSCS, because like there's a lot of competition when it comes to degrees like CS, EC, or mechanical, like these degrees which many people go after. So, like, even if you have a great profile, like sometimes people fail to get into some of the top universities. Then, like, what are your suggestions regarding this? Like, what should one keep in their mind or write in their SOP, like while
Oh yeah.
applying?
Yeah, so again, in most of the universities, I'll talk about US because that's where I
Okay.
have applied. So most of the universities there, they look at your profile as a whole. It's not just your GPA or your GRE score that plays the major role. It's a profile as a whole. So they evaluate you as a person. So especially for CS related degrees, I would say if you want to decide on what parameters you should decide to go to apply to a particular college or university, I would say go through their course list. So all colleges have course lists available for each of the programs. Understand the course list and understand if that is something that you want to do. Do you have genuine interest in, if you have done projects in those domains, or you have some experience in those domains. And then we can also go through the faculty list and see their research and their contribution, that is there someone you're really interested that you want to work with. And so yeah, so that really helps. And then so that really helps in making decision that which colleges should I apply to. And
Yeah.
yeah, and another major factor that probably was lacking in my profile, I would say, is research papers. I mean, when you're in college, you sometimes don't realize how important research papers are, but sometimes they can be the deciding factor between a college, a university giving you the admit and versus rejecting you. So yeah, research papers, even if you're applying for a professional degree, one or two research papers definitely will play a major role. And
Okay.
SOPs, I mean, and everything. Basically, a SOP is basically just a document of 1 or 2 pages where you literally just sell yourself to the admission committee. Basically, tell you all your strengths. If your weaknesses, you mention your weaknesses, and yeah, you mention literally everything that you can, that you feel like will impress the person reading it. It will help judge the person reading it in 5 minutes as to what kind of person you are.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So there's one point which you mentioned, and like want the viewers to highlight this. That is like even if you are applying for a professional degree and not the research-based MS type degrees, you need to have one or two research papers. I won't say need to have, but if you have it, you will have an edge
Yeah,
over
it's a
others.
good to have. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good to have. Rather, like, because these days majority of the students applying to masters, like they run after the research papers, and most of the time what happens is they publish their research papers in some of the journals that are usually called as predatory journals, or in not so recognized conferences, or also they usually write papers on those domains which have already been I would say, like a research has already been done in that field. So I would say if you are publishing a research paper, publish it in a good journal, or showcase it in a good conference, and like write a paper that no one has worked on before, so that definitely it will help you a lot during your master's process. And overall, like ye to ho gaya. And like I haven't discussed about your profile yet, so we'll go about your profile. Like, can you tell us more about your GPA, your GRE scores, TOEFL or IELTS, whichever you have attempted?
Yeah, sure. My GPA is 9.35 on scale of 10. My GRE score was 325 on 340, and my TOEFL score was 130 on
Okay,
120.
okay, so that's a very strong profile, I would say. And when you say like you had a GPA of 9.35 out of 10 on a scale of
Yeah.
10. So was this GPA at the time you applied to the universities, or how was it? And usually, like every university has their own conversion scale, and they mention in their on their website as well that the students don't need to convert it unless like the university requests that to a scale of 4. Then like, do we students have any advantage or rather a disadvantage? What would you say?
It depends on how they convert it. So most universities nowadays don't really require you to convert it on a scale of 4, because
Hmm.
they accept scores directly on a scale of 10, and they have their own internal assessment. But there are certain universities such as Columbia and University of Michigan which do require you to submit the scores on a scale of 4. So
Okay.
that time it again depends on what kind of conversion scale are they looking at. If it is for example their own conversion scale, so in that sense it probably doesn't matter much because it's the same for everyone. But if they allow you to, if they tell you that you can submit your unofficial converted scores after you converting it on your own, that time you can be at a disadvantage, especially if your undergraduate score has been calculated on a relative scale
Okay.
compared to an absolute scale. Because in a relative scale, the thing is, even if you have a lower GPA, but at the same time if the topper himself themselves have a lower GPA, not of complete 10,
Hmm.
so relatively you are still much better than the actual score,
Yeah.
whereas on the absolute it's always out of 10. So that time it can play a slight be a slight disadvantage. But as long as you're above 7.5, I really don't think that the difference will be too much to make a huge difference.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
So like apart from this, like you said, there like you have to convince the reader, like while mentioning the points on your SOP, you have to make sure that you are convincing the reader, and also like you have to submit a resume as well. So can you tell us more about it? Like apart from SOP, like usually the resume is a concise version where
Yeah.
you mention about your strengths. I won't say like anyone mentions any weaknesses on their resume, because SOPs, for that reason, they have given you the SOP, the privilege to write an
Yeah.
SOP, so that you can mention the weaknesses over there. So, what all points like one should mention on their resume, you would say?
Yeah, so the resume again, like you said, it's a concise document. You just list everything bullet point wise. So you start right from your undergraduate scores, your undergraduate CGPA, your 12th percentage, your 10th percentage, and then also you mention all of your professional experience. I mean, if you're working somewhere, how long have you worked? What was your position there? What work did you do? If you're interning somewhere, what was your position, what work, how long did you work for, etc., what projects did you work on. And then after that you also should highlight 2 or 3 of your major projects which were your stronghold,
Hmm.
your strongest projects. What tech stack did you use, or what domain was the project in, what was the objective of the project. And you should also definitely mention your extracurricular activities, your achievements that you have achieved. If you are a rank scorer in your college, or when you're 12th, you should mention that. If you have won any hackathons, you can mention that. If you've
Hmm.
received any awards. And yeah, so that definitely, extracurriculars definitely are one point that you should never miss on a resume. But at the same time, you should also ensure that the resume doesn't become too long. I mean, it should be a
Yeah.
short document, probably maximum a page and a half, but it shouldn't exceed.
Like, was there any specific reason you chose to go to the States for your master's? Like, you are deciding to go to the States, and like there are other countries as well, but why specifically the States? And like, what are your plans before traveling over there?
Experience, though the universities there are great, the schools there are great, the programs there are amazing. So I thought most of the programs which I checked out, the ones in US seemed to align with my interest the most. So I decided to pursue US as a country. And regarding what I'm going to do for my time with my time here in India before going, is probably just going to be experiencing Mumbai and India more before deciding to go.
Yeah.
And yeah, It's just going to be shopping and enjoying myself for a few more months before going there.
That's great. That's great. So I would like to thank you very much for like being here on this session today, and I hope like I wish you all the best in your future endeavors, and you get into some of the top companies after your masters. And
Oh yeah, definitely.
I wish like if I ever try for my masters, we'll meet there in the States.
Oh yeah, definitely. Thank you for inviting me for this. It was great fun.
Sure, sure. Same here, same here. Thanks a lot.